Hello everyone, welcome back to the JRBN cast, and today we are doing a short movie review of the movie Get Out. It's come out recently. We saw it over the weekend. Myself, Nick, and Jacob, we went and saw it, and it was pretty good. It's pretty good in my opinion, but we'll get to what the other guys think in a minute. I'm going to give you guys a little quick synopsis of it without spoiling it. This movie's really hard to talk about without giving away any spoilers, and I certainly do not want to give anything away. But I'll give you the most bare bones synopsis of it without giving too much away. And if you guys want to know more, you can, of course, watch the trailer. We'll probably explain the tone of the movie better than I will.
Or just see the movie.
Yeah, but watch the trailer if it looks like something you're into. But so essentially what happens is it's directed by Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, the short one. If you're wondering which one it is. We Googled it. But anyways, what happens in this movie, there is a African-American, this is important, there's a African-American man named Chris. He is dating a white woman. This is important. He's dating a white woman named Rose, and it is time to go meet her family, Rose's family, and they're all white. And in the beginning, Chris is apprehensive about meeting an all-white family. He asks, do they know I'm black? And that's sort of the overlying theme of the movie, but there's a lot more that goes into it. But definitely give it a watch. There's a lot of symbolism and stuff like that, but that's pretty much all I can say. And once he gets there, the family starts doing really weird shit to him. Like, he starts to realize that this isn't a trailer, so he starts to realize that every other black person that's on the estate where her family lives is basically this weird, like, servant that talks like, oh, well, how do you do, sir? And he's like, what the fuck? Like, no, I'm serious. That's how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say without giving it away. I would definitely watch it. It's hard to talk about. But anyways, we're going to jump right into what we thought. First of what we're going to do with this little format is, do we think you should see it? Where, if nothing else, if you don't watch any other part of this video, listen to this part, because this will determine whether or not you should see it. We'll go with myself first. I think that you should personally go see this movie. It is worth the money, every penny. I did not feel like I wasted my money at all in going to see this movie. And I think that it would be a good purchase for anyone else. Jacob, what did you think?
Like, as in, should they see it?
Should they see it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. Everyone should see this. It's a very good movie. It's funny, scary, has good characters.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie. Like, everyone should see this movie.
Okay. And Nick, would you recommend it?
Well, I don't think I would see it. I don't think I would have seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
And here's why. I thought that they way overhyped it. I thought that I was expecting a lot more from the 100%.
Yeah.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes that I got. And I thought it was too predictable. I expected a lot of what happened. Okay. And so I just thought that.
All right, so
it could have been a lot better.
So you would not recommend this to someone?
I would recommend seeing it when it comes out at the Redbox.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was horrible.
No, but you didn't want your money back or anything.
It's the money's gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have seen it in theaters.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
All right. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do pros and cons. We're gonna start with pros, what we liked about the movie. We're all going to share maybe one or two things that we liked. I'll start. The characters are really good, as we said before. The acting in this movie is phenomenal. It's we didn't mention this before, but it is a horror comedy, and they list it as that. And you wouldn't think so, but it is. There's some funny movement. There's some funny moments in this movie. There's a character who is basically like, if I could compare him to, he is the person who screams in the movie theater at the person in the horror movie, like, get out of there. He's like constantly in this entire movie. He's like, what are you doing in that girl's house? He's like, I told you not to go in there. He's so hilarious. Everyone was laughing. He's a funny guy. The actors do their job so wonderfully. Like, I feel scared for this character throughout this movie. I was like, seriously, the mom and dad that are in this movie made me feel physically uncomfortable with their acting. I felt like I was like shifting in my chair, and like the way they would like talk and the way they delivered their lines was so haunting and punctual. I will do this one line. I will share this one line with you from the dad, because this isn't really a spoiler. When they go out to the estate, they hit a deer, right? And Chris is pretty broken up about it, but once he goes to the dad just like offhandedly says like, "Oh, I'm glad you killed that deer." Honestly, what does he say? He says like,
they're overpopulated and they're like eating all the grass and stuff.
And they're eating all the grass. I'm glad that you killed that deer. And he just says it so casually, and it makes you feel creepy, and it just builds up so well. Despite the fact of it was a very predictable movie, I think, but despite that fact, that really wasn't an issue for me. I still, I think it had a good message to spread. You wouldn't really grasp the message unless you saw the whole movie. You'd have to watch it to really understand what it is. But I think it is relaying a good message for people. And I think that it's, well written. The acting's really good. And it's just overall like a good watch. I think there's not really a whole lot more I can praise it for without going into like a spoilers discussion. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you think, Jacob?
Oh, well, I mean, I liked pretty much everything about it. Because when I saw it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I was like, okay, I'm going to go see this movie. It's probably going to be okay. I'm just going to be disappointed by the hype and tear it apart and blah, 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 blah. But nah, everything was good. Like, every actor, except for the main character, does creepy so well. It blows me away. Like, the second he meets the family, you're like, there's something wrong here. Like, these people are freaky. And like, the more he interacts with them, and like the maid and like the groundskeeper guy, like there's this one scene where he's talking to their maid, and I'm just tweaking the heck out. Like, I'm in my seat just like just like twitching and just being like, oh my god, get out of there.
And the camera angles too.
Yeah, no, they do like, Jordan Peele is an amazing director. I gotta say that. Like, he's good at building suspense. He knows how to use the camera and use angles and stuff like that to just freak you out. It's very like Hitchcockian almost. Like, if you've ever seen an Alfred Hitchcock movie, it reminds me a lot of that. Like, just it's like a very slow build-up almost, but it doesn't feel slow. Like, the whole time you're kind of just on the edge of your seat, just like, okay, obviously there's something wrong here. These people, and yeah, there's the actors are so good at being creepy. The story's really good. The characters are really good. And yeah, parts of the story, like, I predicted the main twist. At one point I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. I was right. But I mean, it's hard to pull off a good twist nowadays. Mm-hmm. So I don't knock the movie for that. It was a really good twist, I thought.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there is kind of I wouldn't call it a political message, I guess, but there is like a deeper message to the whole thing.
I'd say it's more ethical than political.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like a lesson in empathy than anything else. But it's not like super heavy-handed. Like, at the end of it, it's like, you shouldn't treat black people differently, you jerk. It's more just like, it's more like just part of the story. Kind of. It's not really like, oh, now they're talking about race all of a sudden. It's like, nah, it's just part of the story. It makes sense in the context of the story. Mm-hmm. It all flows very nicely.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just didn't think there was anything in the movie that was out of place.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, do you have like just maybe like one or two things that you enjoyed?
Well, I'm not gonna. I made it sound like I didn't enjoy any of it, and that just isn't true. I did like it. I thought it was a good movie. I thought for a comedian, he did a pretty good job of directing a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I really liked the acting from the two black servants. I thought they both did an amazing job of making the audience just feel uncomfortable with their presence.
Yeah.
And especially when the black lady is in the room, and when she's doing her little laugh and she's saying, "Oh, no, 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 no."
Oh, yeah.
That just made me uncomfortable. And
they zoom in on her face, and I was just like, move, yeah. Personal bubble.
Yeah. Like, something about her specifically
You'll
It's just
tweak
creepy.
out.
I think she did the best job of everyone as an actress.
Yeah, definitely.
And
she's up there.
And I also liked the whole dramatic irony, the whole feeling that you wanted to just yell at the character to because you saw what was coming and the character doesn't. Like when you're watching a movie and the character's in the dark and you see the gun being pointed at them and they don't, or I'm not talking about this movie, by the way. I'm just saying that's the kind of feeling I got from the whole experience, and I really enjoyed that. But what I didn't like about the movie, which is why I'm kind of giving this more of a bad review, is because I thought it was way too predictable. I just thought that they could have used some better, less cliches, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, sure.
I thought they used a lot of the horror cliches. Maybe it's because I've watched too many horror movies, and maybe, I don't know about you, but I know Jacob doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, and so he doesn't really know the whole cliches, all of the cliches.
Yeah.
And but I do, because I've watched basically every horror movie, and it kind of reflected on all of those cliches. But overall, I would give it a B minus.
A B minus. How about like out of 10?
Huh?
How about like out of 10? Was that like a 7? It's like a 7 or like an 8.
It's like a 75.
Like a 7.5.
Or how about, let's just give it an 80%. That's
80?
about the lowest B you can get.
All right. Okay. So next at 80. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What I didn't like about it, since we kind of just segued into that. So what I didn't like about it was kind of a little bit of what Nick already said, that it is predictable. And it's not like there's no big glaring problems with this movie for me that make me go like, you know, like some movies are like that, but like this, I don't know. And like I didn't think it was that bad at all. I don't really have a lot else to say about it that was bad. The only other thing I would say is that there's a moment in this movie where it feels a little like, okay, we get your message, like, you know. Like, there's a scene in this movie where they just, like, keep having... Where they really, like, oh, if you didn't know the ethical moral of this movie or the message of this movie, well, I hope you do now, because we're going to remind you about 7 times in this one scene. Which I think could have been better, or they could have went about that better. I don't think it was necessary, whereas, like, I already got it before... They didn't even have to do that, you know? And you know the scene that I'm talking about if you've seen this movie?
Which scene are you talking
about? When he meets the rest of their family...
Oh.
And they're going around, and his girlfriend is introducing him to all the other members of the family, and they're all white, and they start saying all these like weird, kind of like
diet racist.
Yeah, like diet racist things, like, oh man, I would have voted for Obama a third time, and like really like, oh, I'm not racist, kind of stuff like that. But and I got it. They already did that in the first with the dad, and I was like, I don't need that 5 other times from like the family. Like, I understand the message. You don't need to keep slapping me in the face with it. I get it. But, you know, it was still like a good message, and it didn't make me not really like the movie any less. So I guess my final thing would be like 9.5, because I still thought it was a really good movie. You know, all my stuff is pretty nitpicky. You know, there are no super big glaring problems in my book, but that's my opinion. Jacob, what do you think do you have any critiques,
Not really for me. I mean, like you guys said, it was predictable, but it was satisfying. Like, It's not like, oh, you didn't know what was going to happen every second of the movie, but it's not like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. It's like, oh, it happened. Wow, that was lame. It's like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, and I still feel good about it. Like, I'm glad that happened. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how I felt. And... Like I said with the message, to me, it didn't feel heavy-handed or anything. Like, it felt good it felt like it worked in the context of the movie to me. Because, like I said, it felt kind of like a lesson in empathy. Like, there's, like, you're being shown from from the character's perspective, like, what it's like to hear that stuff. And, like, it's so weird and unnatural in the movie that I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like, yeah, this is sort of what that feels like. So I didn't think the message was heavy-handed. I didn't think the predictability of the movie made it worse in any way. I mean, I'd say it was a 10 out of 10 for me personally. Okay. I think it lived up to the hype.
Okay, sure. I would.
All right, there's one more thing I wanted to say another little critique I had, and the ending is basically a Deus Ex Machina.
It is.
And I did not.
A little bit.
I thought that was incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
I hate the use of any kind of Deus Ex Machina.
So you hate most movies?
Yeah. That is like every movie nowadays, dude. I'm sorry. But no, I know what you're saying.
Well, the best movies are the ones that the character actually has to work their ass off to get out of the situation.
He did work his ass off.
He did, but that ending...
put in work. He hustled hard.
But there was still a Deus Ex Machina.
That ending was a total Deus Ex Machina.
It was a huge...
There was no explanation for why...
There really
why
isn't.
it happened.
Yeah,
it was like the Eagles in the Lord of the Rings.
Well, no, it wasn't.
I don't think
it wasn't that bad because, like, you see. I don't know how to discuss this without spoiling it, but like you can see a bit of a lead up to it. Like you can see A to B, and then it skips like A to B to C to D, and then it kind of skips through to like point Z. So,
but it takes that time where it could have been explaining what was happening and does it to show us better things, I think. So
it didn't really need to be explained, I don't think. I think it would have just made the movie... I think it would have messed up the pacing and made the movie unnecessarily long. And I mean, like, I know the part you're talking about, when that happened... Like everybody started clapping, and like I saw you guys were like, yes, I'm so glad. Oh yes, thank God.
Yeah,
like,
because
I said, it's satisfying. It's
satisfying.
It makes you happy.
The ending will surprise you because there is a way that you probably think that it will go, and it doesn't go that way. There's still it was a very big divide of like what you could go 50-50 of what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not, that is like probably the only thing that I wasn't really able to predict. Because it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, but it was still that God in the machine, like
a little bit,
but it is what it is. It could have, there have been worse Deus Ex Machinas.
I'd say
for a Deus Ex Machina, that was pretty tame.
I don't know. I thought it was stupid.
You thought it was, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm always in the minority.
We have a nice little mixed opinion group here. So I would, make your own decisions based on what you've heard from us, or go
see it at the Dollar Theater,
or you can go and trust Rotten Tomatoes, or go IMDb, or ask some other friends that have seen it. But that's just
just go see it for yourself and make your own decisions.
Yeah. But that is what we think, the three of us. Let us know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Of course, if you liked this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to go over to any of the other content on our channel, like us on Facebook. We have Thought Casts every other Sunday, and Casual Casts every other Sunday. They sort of shift. And these little movie reviews will be up whenever we
see a movie.
Whenever we record them and upload them. There's no schedule for them yet, unless you guys are like, we want more of this, and we want like this weekly, then I'll consider doing it weekly. But for now, I will upload them as soon as they're ready to be uploaded. But thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to watch our other stuff, and stay frosty, stay cool, and get out. Don't get out. Get in.
God.
To our. All right.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing? You just ruined the joke.
I'm sorry. All right. Bye.
Yeah, you might have to just record a different ending.